Hello guys, I'm Herman. In today's video, I would like to present to you my DIY CNC machine. More than a year ago, I decided to build a machine that could be able to process parts from large sheet of material, like plywood. For that, I built this big machine. This is a 3 meters by 1.5 meters CNC machine. And in this video, I'm going to present to you how I made this. Let's get started. I'm very much aware that my workshop is very small to accommodate such a big machine. For that reason, I decided to build a machine that could be unpacked and repacked when necessary to ease mobility. This machine as it stands is made of two parts. We have the base and we have the gantry, and all of these parts are built from aluminium, heavy duty aluminium. Like I said, this machine is made from aluminium, but there are some parts that I used on this machine and that I sourced separately to make this machine to work properly. For example, you have on the x-axis, we have the HDH 20 rails. I use the HDH 20 rails on the x-axis and the y-axis, and I use the HDH 25 on the y-axis. You can also see here that I'm using rack and pinion systems. So these also are made out of hardened steel, since they wear out easily. Making them with aluminium will make the machine not to last and will easily lose accuracy. You can see right here that I'm currently using giant motors. These are stepper motors. They are closed loop stepper motors. And these motors, as they are very powerful. They are 8.6 Newton meter. And I'm using them to drive the y-axis, the x-axis, and the z-axis. And the reason why I went in for the 8.6 Newton meter is because I wanted to be able to have a high-speed system that could easily make my work to be enjoyable and fast. Like I said, all the motors are closed loop. They are all closed loop and they are used on all the axes. The reason why I went in for the closed loop system is because I wanted to avoid crashes. Take for example, the machine moves on the y-axis and then hits a limit, and then nothing stops. As powerful as the motors are, we are going to have some mechanical destructions. For that reason, if this motor misses any step, it will automatically alert the CNC controller, and the controller will automatically pause the system for the operator now to come in and do some adjustment and then correct what was not properly done and then rerun the process. And by so doing, you'll be able to save material and then save the machine. Okay, on most of my machines, I've built a couple of them so far. But on most of my machines, I usually use ball screws to run the X, the Y, and the Z axis of all my machines. But for this one specifically, I chose to go in for the rack and pinion systems because it is more appropriate for machines that are long. Number one is because of the cost and also some mechanical inconveniences. It might wiggle depending now on the length. On our case here, we have a 3 meters machine. As long as 3 meters is, imagine that the motor is rotating to move the axis forward or backward. It's going to wiggle. And also, you sacrifice a lot of speed when running the ball screw systems, unless you are having a very thick ball screw to drive your machine. Like I said, all the parts of this machine were made from aluminium. But as you can see, the aluminium that we used on this machine, they are cut of different sizes. So I did not just jump into the market and bought the parts the way they are. But before I even went ahead to do this assembly, I first of all had to make a design. I used a software called SolidWorks to draw this machine inside the software and then have the accurate dimensioning, so that if I go to the market to buy my parts, I will now be able to know the exact dimension that I need for a specific parts. So for that, I had to go to the market and buy aluminium stock like this. This is a 20 millimeter thick aluminium stock which I use to machine the gantry, the Z plate, the front panel and the back panel, and also this stepper motor bracket. As you can see, this stepper motor bracket came out of this location, this one here. So it's not because you see the machine like this you think that I just went to the market and bought the parts and then came and assembled. I first of all had to do a clean design using SolidWorks, had all my dimensions already well arranged, and then I go to the market now and source the parts. And to machine all these parts the way they are, some people might be very surprised how good the cuts are. No, I'm also using a digital fabrication machine, which is a small CNC machine that I have in my workshop. I've used this machine for some years now, and it is what permitted me to machine all the parts that you can see on this machine. For the aluminum extrusion, I bought them in length of 3 meters, and then now I came from the dimension I had from my software, from the drawing that I made. I was now able to cut them to size and then come now and do the assembly very easily. So that is how I actually had to build this system that you see right here. Okay, as you can see, for many of the other parts that I could not buy, that I could not process myself in the workshop, they are already standard parts. You find the rack and pinion, you have the HGH20, you have the HGH25, the rack and pinion, you have the stepper motors, you have the pinion, you have the racks, the controller that's itself. I had to buy them all already made and then design my machine to be able to fit them so that they could be able to do the job that they are supposed to do. And right. So we've already presented the mechanical side of this machine. Now let's get into the electrical side. The electrical components that make up this machine are the motors and some sensors. Let's start with the motors. We have 4 motors, 2 driving the Y-axis, 1 driving the X-axis, and 1 driving the Z-axis, carrying the spindle up and down. The other motor we have that we have not even talked about since in this video is the spindle. This is a water-cooled spindle, and it is a 2.2 kilowatt water-cooled spindle. There are 2 types. We have the air-cooled spindle and water-cooled spindle. The air-cooled spindle means that the spindle has a fan that automatically blows the spindle when the spindle is running in order to blow away heat and prevent the motors from dying. And this one is water-cooled, which means water enters through this channel and then goes out through the other one back into the jug from where the water came from. The reason why I chose this one is quite temporary for this machine. We're going to upgrade based on what we have to do with the machine. We have to upgrade to a 3.5 kilowatts or 4.5 kilowatts subsequently. So the other part of the electrical system here are sensors, switches. As you can see, this machine is a machine that moves on the X-axis and the Y-axis, the Z-axis. Since these motors are very powerful, if this motor moves up and hits this thing, this bracket, at some point, we might have some mechanical damage or something might get bad. Since the motors are very powerful, they will try to force themselves past through this bracket and then break something. And the same goes for the X-axis and the Y-axis. So for that, we needed some electrical sensors to automatically sense when this particular plate has reached its limit. When it reaches its limit, it sends the signal to the CNC controller. The CNC controller automatically identifies the limit and then stops the movement. The same goes with the X-axis. We have our sensor here, and we have for the Y-axis, we have our sensor here, which means that if this part of the machine moves and reaches this sensor, it automatically stops. And the same, we have the same sensor here, which moves. If it reaches its limit, it automatically stops as well. That prevents crashes, and it's very important. So these ones are home switches. These ones are programmed to be home switches, which means that the machine takes it as reference. If it comes and hits here, this is the reference point for the X-axis. If it goes and hits there, it is the reference point for the y-axis, and if it comes and hits here, it is the reference point for the z-axis, and that the machine knows that we are at 0, 0. And then from there now, it can calculate its location around the machine and then know at every point in time where the spindle is located. How does that help us in this machine? It helps us in the sense that if something goes wrong, we can directly locate the point where the machine stopped based on the reference and then resume our process from there and prevent material damage. Okay, we are done with the electrical side built on the mechanical system. Let's now move to the electrical controller, as you can see right here. So, as you can see, this is the controller that we built for this machine. This controller is based on the Open Dream systems. So the main controller that controls the whole system is this Open Dream controller. This one specifically is the DDCS Expert version 2.1. I already made a brief presentation of this controller in the previous video. Right here we have the spindle controller itself. So if I go here and then I come here and press my spindle on, you can get the sound. The spindle comes on immediately. If I go there and stop it, it stops. We have our MPG to move the axis. If I can jog the machine forward on the y-axis, jog it on the z-axis, jog it on the x-axis, and that makes the machine to be flexible in terms of how we make it work. Now we have some controllers. Here, this is just a simple voltmeter, and this is an alarm indicator LED. Here we have two buttons. This one is to pause the process. This one is to pause the process, and this one is to resume the process. And right here we have our USB stick plug, so we can directly read our G-code files from here and then run our process in the machine.